Earlier this year, it was announced that Microsoft had shut down a studio, including a project that they were working on, a reboot of a once beloved franchise featuring prominently a female protagonist. And I bring this up as a point of comparison for no particular reason, of course, but yes, it was widely publicized when, yes, the initiative got shut down prior to them releasing anything that they were working on, and this long-rumored, long-worked-on Perfect Dark reboot, well, after it got memed into oblivion after it was announced in a very sketchy gameplay trailer that later was confirmed to be completely unrepresentative of the work that they had done on the project, came out, and the big takeaway from the game was none of the gameplay or the simulated gameplay that was on display. It was that, wow, what happened to Joanna Dark's head? Are we playing as an Eastern Island statue? Like, what's happening? But let's just take a quick jog down memory lane, because Microsoft, well, they've been sharpening up their axe here recently. And to understand where we're going, we have to know where we've been. So Microsoft is scrapping 2 upcoming video games, a reboot for Perfect Dark and the fantasy title Everwild, right? Because that's out of a Bethesda subsidiary, right? In addition to ending development on several unannounced projects. Interesting. Put a pin in that for a moment, okay? These decisions are resulting impacts of the sweeping round of layoffs, totaling more than 9,000 employees at Microsoft, and like a third of that was specifically from the gaming division, if I recall correctly. As part of the cuts, Microsoft Gaming has shuttered the studio The Initiative, which was the developer on the Perfect Dark reboot, a game that had been in the works for nearly 7 years. Wow, another game long in the tooth in the development cycle that had yet to produce any sort of tangible work, and then it gets closed down. Well, funny how that tends to happen with these AAA studios, marking the only studio closed at Microsoft Gaming and Xbox this time around. Microsoft has confirmed Rare, the studio behind the now scrapped game Everwild. Also, Rare, interesting, the original shepherds of the Perfect Dark IP. They were working on another project, yes, which has been in development for approximately 10 years, is not being closed. Yeah, because there's obviously, like we've seen recently, there are a few studios that Microsoft will axe, especially over the past year and change. Tango Gameworks, Arcane Austin, The Initiative, all of that stuff. But when it comes to 343 Studios, instead of, mercifully shutting them down, they'll just rebrand them as Halo Studios. And in October, they'll show you whatever Unreal Engine 5 slop that they're working on, because Halo's not about cutting-edge gameplay. It's about state-of-the-art graphics. Oh, Christ almighty. What other horrors are they going to bring upon that once beloved franchise? But Turn 10 Studios, even with the diminishing returns of the Forza games, they're never going to get touched. And Rare, well, I think that would be too high profile of a studio for even Microsoft to close down. But yeah, Initiative and closing down the Perfect Dark reboot before they waste any more resources on it totally makes sense, because the future for Microsoft is exactly the future for all AAA game studios. 200 King staff laid off at Xbox will be replaced by AI, an internal memo reveals. Wow, your job is so superfluous it can get outsourced to Grok. Hey Grok, is this true? In an internal memo sent to staff that has been announced, the 200 developers who were laid off at King and Xbox earlier this year will be replaced by AI, bitch. The internal memo provided by Mobile Gamer Biz addressed the question of why people at the company were laid off. The email reads, "Why is this happening? Are these prompts given to AI? The industry is changing fast, and our business has not been growing. Now, when this happens, we must not only look outside at competitors in the market, but also inside." Now, we've talked about, as we've talked about before, we are making several changes to get the business back to growth, unlocking many more AI tools is one recent example. Investing more in marketing this year is another. We're fortunate to have many talented individuals at King, 200 of which not quite as talented as the other people working here. But we also have a collective problem. The size and structure of the company often makes it difficult to get things done. So we plan to simplify the organization. Fewer layers, fewer overlapping remits, fewer hours spent on alignment, fewer people in meetings, fewer stakeholders for every project. Many leaders across King have been asked to redesign redesign their organizations to be smaller overall. There will be some new roles created in these redesigns and some rebalancing of headcounts across King, but overall King will be a smaller company. King was a part of the big Activision purchase that happened, God, was that a few years removed now at this point. And so if something that's significant can get redesigned, what do you think the rest of the industry is going to look at, okay? At least they're recognizing internally. They haven't quite said this outwardly quite yet, but there's a lot of bloat in these studios, okay? A lot of things are taking way too long to manifest. There is a lot of superfluous desks and a bunch of cluttered, overstaffed, underperforming offices. So yeah, cuts are being made. We seen it earlier this year. I'm convinced we're going to see it again because there's going to be more delays, more cuts, more cancellations, and chief among them, I believe, is likely to be this Fable game. Maybe it won't be this year, okay? Because we just got word that, I know that this has been on the back burner for a while. I know that we had word about this back in 2024, funnily enough, alongside, the Perfect Dark trailer. Yeah, we got an update on the brand new Fable game. Yeah, you guys remember Fable from back in the Xbox One days? Well, yeah, there's a reboot, a female-led reboot. Trust us, guys, this is totally going to happen. But yeah, it was re-unveiled in 2024. It's Summer Games Fest, I think. Pretty sure that's when it came out. And then, all silent for the next 6 months. A few different developer directs came and went, and I think Fable might have got mentioned in one of them. But then, Summer Games Fest, the 1-year anniversary of that trailer came around, and no word on Fable. And then all of a sudden, we hear that, it's probably not going to be coming out this year. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. We could kind of put 2 and 2 together on that one because you would have started your promotional campaign right now, and it's probably not coming out next year. It's like, okay, you guys have been working on this shit since like 2018 at this point in time. Time's a ticking, so it's looking awfully familiar, huh? You had Everwild's in development for about 10 years. You had the Perfect Dark reboot in development for about 7 years. What was it, Avowed earlier this year? Avowed from Obsidian. It was in development for a similar timeline, and it came out and it flopped spectacularly. So I'm wondering, what's going to happen with Fable? Because I don't really think there's too many people genuinely looking forward to this, outside of the people that just simply want to see it for meme value. But Fable, I remember playing the first Fable. It was quite fun. The second one I didn't get around to, and I think the third one is much maligned. But I thought there was, the Kinect one, and that was an abomination. But there was also a rumored, Gauntlet-style 4-player Fable game that never ever came to fruition. And this has just been out there for about as long as I can remember. And given we are now lacking any kind of a coherent release window, I think this project's cooked, guys. Okay, it's fairly easy to see which AAA games are going to miss their originally slated release date or window, and that's almost all of them. For instance, Rockstar is swearing the GTA 6 would be out this fall, but May 2026. May 26, 2026? I think that's what, I can't remember, man, but May 26. Also happening with Fable, allegedly a 2025 release, but back in February, it was delayed to an unspecified time in 2026. Now it turns out it may even be longer than that. News comes from reputable Xbox insider Sheepsalt Nick, who said on Xbox Era podcast that 2 sources have told him that Fable may not arrive until 2027. Not that anything is going especially wrong, it's just that it's taking longer than they thought. Bro, you've been working on this for how fucking long, and it's gonna take upwards of a decade. At this point in time, man, Concord was on the same trajectory. Games being worked on and looking like absolute garbage a decade in, and just goes to show you that there are some things changing in the gaming industry, but as many things change, more stay the same. You can take You can join this with a statement from head of Xbox Game Studios, Craig Duncan, back when the original delay was announced, that if you want to look at the delay headspace, which may happen twice. Okay, so I just want to start with really excited about progress. I'm sure you are. Really excited where Playground are. Okay, previously announced the date of Fable as 2025. We are actually going to give Fable more time, and it's going to ship in 2026 now. Now, while I know that maybe not the news everybody wants to hear, I want to assure people of it's definitely worth the wait, and I unequivocally have confidence in the Playground team. Or yeah, I can understand, delaying a game if it needs to have a little bit more polish. That totally makes sense. But if you've been kicking it around for this long, at this point in time, man, there's only so much turd polishing you can do until you have to realize that, oh fuck, we just wasted how many resources and how much time. Just get it out there at this point. For a long while, Microsoft were returning to its classic IPs, Fable and Perfect Dark. Here you go, it all comes full circle, ladies and gentlemen. Felt like its two biggest pending games, but in the wake of a slew of layoffs and cancellation, Perfect Dark was axed and its entire studio along with it. Could that happen to Fable? Seems far less likely. Really? The initiative was a brand new studio, while Playground is something of a crown jewel in the Xbox stable, with their history working on the always great Forza games. Second, Perfect Dark was reportedly plagued with issues for a long time, and well, I haven't heard similar doom and gloom about Fable, even if it keeps getting delayed. Yeah, we need to work on it a little bit more. Haven't heard anything about the doom and gloom behind the scenes, but yeah, this is Paul Tassi over at Forbes at the end of the day, okay, as unreliable as they come. Every once in a while, he has a gem, but every once in a while, well, more often than not, he ends up just towing the company line and saying that, hey guys, don't worry, Fable is definitely coming. I just can't wait. Or he has to write a Stellar Blade-like follow-up, how he said the game was going to flop, and then it came out and it had a record opening. Shame about that week after release when like 85% of the audience dipped out. But if he's high on Fable, yeah, it's kind of like Jim Cramer with his stock predictions. Buy low, buy low, buy low. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.